Greetings, everyone. This is Troy Lamel Stovall, the CEO of TEDCO, Maryland's engine for early stage technology investments. I got a very special guest today, man after my own heart on a lot of different levels. But before that, I want to do two kind of public service announcements. The first is, as you know, we record these, and we're recording these on a day where I think here in Maryland it's going to get to almost 90 degrees, and over this weekend it's expected to get to 110 degrees. And by the time you view this, I'm still anticipating that there'll be 90 plus degree temperatures across the country, across the world. And so I guess my point is, please stay hydrated, please watch yourselves. But I don't think this is the end, and I don't pretend to be some big environmental person, but I do believe we have a Earth, a planet that is calling out and asking us to stop this and do something different. And so I'm asking all of us to think differently about how we consume the resources of this planet. And so my second one is, I'm taping this I'm taking this on a Friday, and this past Monday was my birthday. And the way I celebrated my birthday was I prepped for a colonoscopy, and everything went fine. So I'm fine. But my point is, I really want to send a message to all of my friends, and particularly my Black men and my men of color, that it's important for you to go get checked. It's important for you to know your numbers. It's important for you to know your blood pressure, your cholesterol, your sugar, all those things. And sometimes we don't do that on a regular basis. So I am imploring and asking and using this platform to ask that you all think differently about your health and think about it and do it in a periodic way. And really understand what it is you could be doing better so that you're there for your loved one. So I want to put those two things out there and hope they reach a certain audience. But to that, I couldn't be happier today. I think most of you know I'm an engineer by training, and I actually wanted to always be a professional engineer. I didn't go down that path, but my friend Marco Ávila today is a civil engineer, professional engineer by training, has a lot of different hats, some of which we'll talk a lot about today. He's with a firm called WSP. We'll talk about that as well. But I think one of the bigger reasons he's on here today is he is the president, chairman of the Maryland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, which is a very big partner with TEDCO. Marco, thank you for being with us today. And I'm really looking forward to chatting with you today.
Thank you so much, Troy, and happy Friday, everyone. Happy day. As you said, it looks like your birthday was on the 18th. Mine was on the 16th. So we kind of share. We kind of share birthdays, cancers. Yeah, right. Great sign. So really happy to be here with you today and to share some information and also to tell everybody what we're doing together, between the two organizations.
Absolutely. So let's a little bit about, just have some fun with it as well. So you're not originally from the United States, correct?
Correct. I was born in Ecuador, Quito, Ecuador, right by the equator, at 10,000 feet above sea level. Great weather. But I moved to the States when I was 17 years old, to go to college. Got here. My parents were divorced. My mom was here. My mom tried to get a second job so she can make money to pay for my school. And at that time, I told her, you know what, Mom? From now on, you're not going to spend a penny on me. So I got a job doing whatever, construction, factories, whatever. Didn't speak a word of English. So I had to put myself through 9 levels of English and then start taking college courses and all that. So, it was pretty hard. But you know what? It's, when you work hard, it pays off. My days were from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. for 8.5 years, going to work and then going to school right after work. So, amazing. But 2 words that I usually tell my kids and people I mentor is persistence prevails.
It does.
Yeah.
No, you got to keep going up the hill. Sometimes it seems like the hill is a mountain, but you still got to keep going up it. And when you get to it, you find out it actually was a hill. It wasn't a mountain, even though.
That's right. That's right. It always seemed like it was so far away, finishing college. It was so far out that it's like I was never going to finish. But you know what? The persistence and going, step by step and moving forward all the time. One day it came and I was like, oh my gosh, I get out of work at 5. Like I got all this extra time, what do I do now? And that's probably why I felt that I needed to fill that time to get involved in other stuff other than just work.
And we're going to definitely talk about that because you're doing some absolutely amazing things. But I want you to still be reflective. I got two questions about reflecting. There's obviously a lot of conversation in this country right now about immigration and what's going on with immigration. But as you look at someone who did immigrate, family immigrate here, what makes the United States such a place that people want to be at and want to come to?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the thing is that, I've been traveling a lot all over the world, and everybody wants to come to the US. And the reason why is because there's a lot of opportunities. There are not opportunities like you see here and elsewhere. And if you come to the US and you're a hard worker and you really want to do something, you will find a way and you will find the opportunity and you will make it. If you didn't make it, it's because you don't want to, or because you're lazy, or but the opportunities are there. You have to find those opportunities. They will not come to you. You have to look for them and make it happen. I think that's my opinion and my experience and all that. You got to get out there and get your opportunities lined up. And by being here, those opportunities are available. If you go to other countries like Latin American countries, sometimes, even if you're a professional, you're an engineer and all that, sometimes the opportunities are not there. Like back in the 80s when I moved here, friends that were engineers, architects, they could not get a job, so they had to go drive a taxi until they find the opportunity. Wow. You know what I mean? Right. So, but like I said, the world right now it's crazy with all these wars and all that. But looking at and talking to people all over the world, they respect the USA, and people always want to be part of the USA or come to the USA or have a piece of the USA somehow.
I love it. So, it sounds like, both of us being engineers, when you were talking, I was thinking there's a math equation there. There's an equation of opportunity plus persistence equals success. The derivative of that will lead to success.
Correct. Absolutely. I agree with that.
Yeah. So, staying on this thing just a little bit more, and I know we talked about this the other day. If you could sitting here today in 2022 talk back to that young man in when you first got here to the United States, now you have this lens. What would be three things you tell him?
Well, first of all, like I said, being 17 years old and not really knowing much about what to expect, the only thing I knew is that I needed to work hard to make it and figure things out on my own. Sometimes because I didn't have any mentors yet. So and you learn that way. But if you're a hard worker and if you start getting involved in associations and all that, communities and all that, you're going to start learning what's going on in your community, what's going on in your city, your county, your state. And I think it's very important to get involved, because that way you will learn the issues, you will learn what's going on, and then you can adjust based on that to move forward, not only on your personal level, but also on your professional level.
I love it. I love that. Well, look, let's get into the Hispanic Chamber. So tell our audience a little bit about the Hispanic Chamber and some of the great work you're doing, obviously, with TEDCO and across the state of Maryland.
Yeah. It's I'm really excited. I took over the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Maryland Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, 2.5 years ago. A lot of people don't know about the organization. I didn't even know about the organization until I started getting involved when I moved to Maryland. I moved to Maryland in 2005. But we've been doing a lot of great work, making sure that the state knows about the agency, about the Hispanic businesses in Maryland. There's over 100,000 Hispanic businesses in Maryland. So, and a lot of these little small businesses, they don't know what's out there. They don't know what's available, through the state or through like TEDCO that offers all these amazing opportunities for small businesses or grants or jobs, So the purpose of our Hispanic Chamber is to make sure that they know what's out there and share this information, connect them with all these organizations and the state agencies and all that, and do a lot of networking and mentorship and education. When I took it over, it was kind of a declining organization. I think we only had 89 members. As of 3 weeks ago, we were in a 425 range. And I'm happy to say that as of today, because we signed an MOU with another Hispanic chamber, we're in the 800 plus members.
Yay.
Yeah, and our goal is to raise more membership by the end of the year, hopefully be in the 1,000 member mark. And this is great because this will help us, promote what we're trying to do and our mentorship and, sponsorships like TEDCO that come in help us a lot to do that, like 2 years ago, I set this goal that reach 1,000 members, and people were telling me, "Oh, you crazy? How are you going to do that?" And now they're looking at me like, "Wow, we're doing it." So it's great. But the thing is that not only trying to help the businesses or the small businesses, not only Hispanic, but small businesses in general, building relationships is huge, because that will help everybody, and is a two-way road. Like the relationship that we have with TEDCO and you guys coming in as sponsors and members and being able to provide all these opportunities for these small businesses is huge. Yeah. So we've been concentrating on doing that in every sector, that we can think of in Maryland.
Outstanding. And just to keep dovetailing on that, one of the efforts that we have launched in collaboration with our friends at the Maryland Hispanic Chambers, we recognize that that this notion of innovation, entrepreneurship hasn't, back to opportunity, opportunities aren't always evenly distributed. And so how do we make sure that those opportunities are visible to people of color, particularly in our Hispanic community, and not just as founders of these entrepreneurial, but also that they get introduced to at the early stages as maybe employee 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and making sure that we're making sure that these opportunities, as you said, are available to all, so that, and you can talk about the whole high tide lift all ships, and I don't know if I 100% agree with that, but I do believe that if we get more people engaged and involved, wealth can get distributed and created in a very different way than just to the small number it gets created to right now. Absolutely.
There's room for everybody out there,
exactly.
And we should work towards that. I'm excited because there's so much going on with the chamber. And the thing is that I'm a believer that everything that you do, whether it's your personal life, your professional life, your volunteering job, or humanitarian job, everything is connected. So everything that I do is so connected, and I'm able to be able to help, my job by connecting my company with connections that I had from the chamber, or connections that I had with my foundations, or connections that I got with the society, the engineering society, that I'm involved with. Everything is connected. Like, for example, you try to bring the younger generation to be prepared to the professional world. So what we do, we got to introduce them to, engineering, STEM, in programs like Engineers Week. We run Engineers Week to bring all these high school kids to learn about engineering, STEM and technical stuff. I do that annually to bring 800 to 1,000 high school kids to learn about this, through Engineers Week. We created a scholarship program through the chamber. So now we provide scholarships to Hispanic students. Last year, for the first time, we gave 3 scholarships. This year, we're going to provide 10 scholarships. So all these things, you got to start from the bottom, right?
Yep.
A lot of kids might not want to go to college. We got to introduce them to the trade world, and be able to provide that to them. A lot of people might not want to go to college, so they want to see, I want to be an electrician or HVAC or plumber or, be in construction and things like that. So we've been teaming up with organizations that can provide that type of guidance and education and training and things like that. So
I love that, Marco, because I'm with you. Is that we both grew up in a world where there's this belief, and still a belief, that you have to go to college and have a degree. And I'm in the belief that there's a lot of jobs, particularly in the tech space or the STEM space. So you can have certifications and badges and other pathways that over time might lead to a degree. And it's up to you to figure out how you get to that degree, but you still should be able to get a great paying job with skills that allow you to do that without a degree. And I think people like you and I have to continue to beat that drum, both to corporations so they can rewrite job descriptions, and to education providers that provide different pathways to get them to those jobs.
That's right. That's right. I mean, like you mentioned earlier, I'm an engineer. I'm a civil engineer, professional engineer. Work for WSP, a global engineering company. I personally work on big mega infrastructure projects. Like right now, I'm working on this $11 billion project to redo 495 and I-270, and I work on other mega projects in Maryland. But you know, I always say that I'm lucky because I have the best of both worlds. You know, I work for a big mega company, but through the chamber, I also work with the small businesses. You know, big prime companies like WSP always work with the small businesses to bring them in on these projects. So I kind of see both sides, which is great. You know, recently got reappointed by the governor to be on the governor's workforce development board, right, which is great because I'm using all my connections and everything that I do towards what we're trying to do with workforce development as well. You know, so a lot of people tell me, when you sleep, you know what, I love, you know, even though it's you know, yeah, I'm not getting paid for this or anything, but it's just the satisfaction of be able to help people, be able to make Absolutely. A difference to someone, and that just the satisfaction, you know, make sure that you create a better world, you know, for us.
So a lot of different paths I want to go, but I want to focus just a minute on, because a lot of folks listening may not understand this notion of a professional engineer, PE, what a PE is, and not just have you explain that, but frankly, how few people of color and Hispanics are professional engineers, and what that pathway looks like. So I'd like you to speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, you know, going through engineering school and in the beginning, not really understanding the language and trying to understand the language and the subject at the same time. Imagine that it was hard, you know, but eventually I remember the first night that I started dreaming in English. It was like, wow, because all my dreams were in Spanish, you know?
Exactly.
So that kind of tells you when you start dominating the language, right? But you know, once you graduate from engineering, you have to take 2 exams. The first exam is before you graduate, which is the EIT, engineering training, which is very, very hard, 9 hours. And then after 4 years of design experience, you're qualified to take your PE exam, and then you become a professional engineer, licensed professional engineer. And I tell you, it was hard. It was hard to go through those exams, and but you know, you have to be persistent, right? We're talking about persistent prevails. Yeah. So I was persistent, and I finally got, you know, my licenses and all that. And I've been working in engineering profession for the past 36 years. I'm not that young.
explain to folks what being a professional engineer, what that allows you to do that, you know, if you're not a professional engineer.
So you can, if you don't have your license, and usually the younger engineers, the entry level, they don't have the licenses, they work in projects, you know, engineering projects. But once you get your license, you are certified and you are able to sign plan sheets, you know. You start becoming an expert on whatever discipline that you are, you know, choosing to work on, whether it's structures or traffic or transit, rail or geotechnical, water resources, whatever. Once you become an expert on a particular discipline, you know, and you move up to become a project manager. You're going to deal with your clients. In this case, let's say the Maryland Department of Transportation or any of the transportation agencies. When you submit your drawings, you have to sign. So as a professional engineer, you are able to sign the plan sheets that are certified for construction. Yeah.
So yeah, I just want people to hear that this, I think people think of engineers as folks who do the design work, and that's absolutely what a lot of them, whether it's in mechanical, electrical,
right.
But this is a different level. And, and he said the process to get it is a tough process. It's akin to like getting a CPA. I mean, it's a very tough multi-day and multi-year process, quite honestly.
Yeah,
that's right. Years. So I wanted to make sure you understand that, and that there aren't a lot of folks of color, Hispanics, who are professional engineers. So it's a pathway I hope that someone out there listening will consider and think about, because frankly, we need more people who have that expertise. And like he just said, can sit at the table and have that knowledge and be at the table and bring that type of skills. And by the way, bring a different type of thinking, because that's the whole point of having people of color and women at the table. Even though you have the same training, you have a different way to apply that training, and being at the table helps you apply that training.
That's right. And training is everything. You got to make sure you go through the channels. You start from the bottom, you start learning all the basics and all that, and work your way. And hopefully you get a really good mentor that can walk you through it, and then you get your experience, right? And then once you get your experience, you start developing that and become an expert. And then once you become an expert, you move up to the next level, and then you become a program manager. That's what I do now is program management and work on mega projects, so on the bigger scale. And then after that, you got to move on to being able to start teaching or mentoring others, and that's very important. Yeah.
So in a little bit of time, I know you've mentioned it a couple of times, and I know you want to talk about this. Like you talk about how you've connected your life around a bunch of stuff that you do. And one of the things I couldn't be more proud of that, to know you that you do is your humanitarian work through your foundation that you do. And I don't want to steal too much of your thunder, but I just am impressed, but that you've been able to, like you told me, do a lot with a little.
Yes.
So
yes,
it's impressive. It tells me a lot about your heart. And this guy, by the way, you'll hear this in a second, got nothing to do with engineering per se, but it's got to do with his journey and how he wants to pay back part of his journey. So I'll leave it to you, Marco.
Yeah, that's right. I love helping people. Like I mentioned earlier, I've been for 26 years getting involved in medical missions, and we do 2 annual medical missions with the Healing Hands Foundation. And so I put together a team of 45 medical volunteers, and we go all over the world to do free surgeries for children with deformities like cleft lips and palates, hernias, burns. We also do, we have a dental group, a GYN group. And we just, all the volunteers, probably over 400 volunteers in all over the USA, they're ready for the email invitation to go and do a mission. They take their vacation time to do this. They donate their expertise. They pay their own airfare. And we gather, all the medical supplies. And in one given trip, we probably bring 120 suitcases full of medical supplies. Each volunteer brings only their carry-ons with their personal stuff, but we all take that with us, and we operate. Just like if we were in the U.S., we will do it elsewhere to make sure that the quality of service that we do is just exceptional. There's a perception sometimes when you go to different countries that they think that we bring students. We don't do that. We bring the top-notch professionals to do the work. And we founded the Healing Hands Foundation in 2007, and we've been doing 2 missions per year. And I get involved with that. I go with them. I'm hands-on, in and out of the OR, making sure everybody has everything, translating. That's how we started.
Because you're not no medical doctor. So what you doing? What you doing there, bro?
So I started 26 years ago as a translator. So I was
Okay.
translating, and every minute and a half, my name was called because they need me everywhere, right? So
Yeah.
now we have volunteers from Miami that they're bilingual, so I don't need to be there. So there's like a built-in translators. But that evolved, and then two surgeons, an engineer, and a nurse, we founded the Healing Hands Foundation, and I'm the CEO, and I'm the one can I work on all the. I use my program management skills to run the foundation. But I do have also another foundation locally called Golfers for Charity, and I do a golf outing annually. This past May, it was sold out, and all the proceeds that we get is donated to 5 or 6 different nonprofit organizations in Maryland, including the Healing Hands Foundation. But we also have the Ronald McDonald House of Maryland, St. Jude, the American Hispanic Chamber of Commerce scholarship program. We also give money to Horizon Day Camp for kids with cancer, and the Engineers Week. We also giving money for that. So that's the fun one. Everybody comes. So the slogan is, give back while you're having fun.
Good for you. The question is, when do you sleep? That is a good question of you. When do you sleep, my friend?
Well, it's my day usually ends at midnight, and I get up at 6. I feel like I need to do something. There's always something to do. Whether work is always work, and work anytime. If I have to take have a couple hours off during the day to do something else, I come back and make up those hours to make sure my job does not get affected. My job is my job, and I need to get that done. But it's important to also devote my time to do all these extra things. And my kids were born seeing this, all the time. And I tried as much as I can to get my family involved, my wife involved. My wife was in charge of the educational mission in Africa and Sierra Leone. She went there 5 years in a row, bringing teachers from Maryland to Sierra Leone to come up with a teaching training for them. So it was like amazing. My kids been in some of these missions, and they experience, the missions itself. So they were born and they grew up seeing this, and it's part of their DNA.
Gotcha. I'm just curious if there's a quick story you can tell about one of these missions that really kind of speaks to the impact and the power of one of these missions.
Well, the last mission we did in Guatemala in 2019, we did 105 surgeries in 5 days.
Wow.
It was amazing. 5 days. So we have 4 operating rooms running at the same time. And these guys were amazing. They were doing 20, 25 surgeries per day, and it's just unbelievable. And these are surgeries that they're changing lives.
Exactly.
A kid with a big cleft lip and palate that for many years probably could not eat properly, could not be traumatized because of the way they look and all that. And overnight, you're changing that. As a different person, they're able to speak better, and they're able to eat better because nutrition also is affected to that. It's just something that you do, and you change in a kid's life overnight. So that's like something that you it's priceless. There's no cost to that. It's just for them the next morning to come to you and say, gracias, meaning thank you. It's just priceless. It's priceless. Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. So, at the beginning, I asked you to talk to your 17-year-old self. I guess I guess was reading a story about somebody who found a bottle with a message in it that had been floating around for like 100 years. And the person ended up through some, online investigation, got the message to the family of this individual that initially put it in the water. If you could write a message to the world, to put in a biodegradable bottle, so I'm getting back to my environment, be a safe bottle, put in a bottle that might be read 40 or 50 years from now, what would you want that message to say?
I think I will use a phrase that I always use, and it would say, the greatest gift you can give someone is the example of your own life. And leave it at that.
Oh wow! I was waiting on something else. I'm like, is there more? That's a short little message you're gonna have in your bottle.
Yeah, and I always end up with "Stay safe and thirsty, my friend."
Well, that's a beautiful way to close, given the way we started. Marco, thank you for not just for all you've done, but your heart, and I mean that sincerely. You have a heart, and you clearly have impacted lives both here in Maryland, but across the globe, and that's what it's about, right? It's I think the good Lord has put us on this planet to impact one person's life. My mama used to tell me her definition, Marco, of the golden rules, that the good Lord has put you on this planet for one purpose and one purpose only, is to make a difference in one person's life. But here's the challenge. She says, you don't know who that one person is going to be or when they're going to come into your life. And so her point was, that means you have to make a difference in everybody's life you touch, because you don't know who that one person is going to be.
That's right. Our Healing Hands slogan is healing the world one child at a time. And if we make a difference to one person, like you said, we made a difference to that person, and that person will be thankful, forever. And if you have that mindset that, you have to get out there and make a difference to someone, and that someone is going to make a difference to somebody else, and on and on and on. So, yeah, I agree with you. And we gotta make our world a better world.
Amen.
By actions. Yeah.
I mean, we both are parents, and I was talking to someone the other night. I think there's a lot of things as parents we're supposed to do, but at a minimum, we're supposed to give them a planet that's a little bit better than the one we inherited, and that's the simple thing I think we're supposed to do. And I think for me, I think we're still working on that to make it a better place.
That's right. That's right. And I really appreciate this conversation with you. It's fun. It's great. Just to be able to say, what you really want to say, and casually, no scripts or anything like that. And that's like the best way, and I love it. Yeah.
Well, we appreciate you, and we will do this again. And I look forward to getting some time with you one-on-one. The COVID thing is, hasn't allowed us to get together, but we are going to get together and break some bread and drink some your liquor of choice.
Sounds great. Looking forward to that.
So to all of you who are taking the time to listen to this and listen to Marco, again, he's an amazing story on a professional and personal level and humanitarian level. So I hope you learn more about it. But thank you always for listening to here at TEDCO Talks. Again, this is Troy Lamel Stovall, the CEO of TEDCO. Everybody stay safe, sane, healthy, and blessed. Take care. See you next time.